All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you. We're going to call the City Council meeting to order here on Monday, April 28th. For the record, we have all council members except for Vice Mayor Anduri, who has an excused absence here tonight. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We are unanimous. So next we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, great. Now we go to public comments for items not on the agenda tonight. So do we have any?
Mayor Dawson, or
No.
Mayor,
It's okay.
I have speaker slips for persons in the hall, and I have hand raised in our virtual audience. So we'll take the speakers in the community hall first, and I will call you up in the order in which I received your speaker slip. If I mispronounce your name, please feel free to correct me. John Fitzgerald, to be followed by Ralph Hernandez.
I want to make sure that this material is entered into the public record, please. My name's John Fitzgerald. I'm a former insurance investigator. I did homicides and contestable deaths. This is pertaining to the Pamela Vitale murder of 2005. I got some quotes. Dr. Carol Lieberman, California court-appointed psychiatrist. Scott Dulesky was unjustly put behind bars while the real killer goes free. Scott Dulesky was framed. The authorities had the wrong guy, that being Scott Dulesky. The person who should have been the right guy was the husband, who they should have been putting on trial. This was the husband of Pamela Vitale, who was attorney Daniel Horowitz. I felt so strongly about this case that I wrote a letter to the public defender who was representing, so to speak, and not particularly well as it turns out, but in any case, who was representing Scott. I wrote a long letter, and mainly I was telling her that if he was guilty, he did not act alone. And then I went on to explain why it wasn't he who was guilty, but why I thought that it was the husband, Daniel Horowitz. Here are the reasons why I think Daniel Horowitz had something to do with his wife's murder. Daniel was obsessed with media attention. Even after his wife was murdered, all he could do was try to get his face on every television show possible, even leading his friend Nancy Grace on a tour of the murder scene shortly after the murder. This is not the normal behavior a grieving husband would show. Indeed, it seems like someone who is trying to hide their guilt by their bravado. Scott's appointed attorney never called me or contacted me. Why? I am glad and happy to be bringing the public's attention to this case again, because it is only through that there's going to be enough pressure to have something done about it. Now quotes from forensic science expert Dr. Brent Turvey, one of the foremost DNA forensic experts in America and abroad, who writes many of the textbooks for forensic analysis and homicide investigations for law enforcement and universities here and abroad. Turvey has performed casework as a crime scene analyst, crime reconstructionist, forensic criminologist, and criminal profiler for law enforcement agencies, attorney clients, and private agencies all over the world. Brent Turvey conducted an examination of the evidence in 2011, concluding that many pieces of potentially exculpatory physical evidence were not properly examined, and the DNA results used to associate Dulesky with the murder were problematic and required an independent analysis. It's fairly evident the motive and fairly evident what happened. They didn't do it because they didn't want to go after the husband, Daniel Horowitz, at all. It's very clear he killed her and then walked around the house and moved a bunch of stuff. Whatever didn't match was just removed and not reported by the DNA analyst. But Scott Dulesky sits in prison 20 years later, and he had no involvement in this murder. And the city of Lafayette has done nothing. While Daniel Horowitz sits on the crime commission representing this city. It's disgusting and it's got to change. You people need to understand the truth.
Wrap up. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Candell, Sri Reedy ceded 3 minutes to Mr. Fitzgerald if he wants it.
Oh, okay.
Mr.
Mr. Fitzgerald, you do have 3 minutes that were ceded to, if you,
By Sri Reedy,
okay,
you'll get another 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to speak from my heart. I've been on this case for 5 years. We appeared 2 years ago here. You remember it. Everybody nods their head and it's wonderful, but what's been done? Nothing. Board of Supervisors sat on this information. They hid it away. I went down and picked it up last week. The lady even told me she's been there for 13 years. She could not find it, and she said, that's surprising. I can't believe it. I've never had this happen before. You know why? Because the district attorney, the state of California, they framed that poor boy, Scott Dulesky, who had no criminal record whatsoever. Trumped up charges. As soon as they found out this boy was taking some credit card numbers, they zeroed in on him. Daniel Horowitz didn't even have an alibi for 5 or 6 hours the day of the murder. It's all provable. It's all factually based. This isn't conjecture. It's about time people realize that this poor boy is suffering. He got his butt kicked so terribly, he was left bloody, lying on the floor of the prison in 2016. Well, guess who just represented one of the kingpins in the gangs? Daniel Horowitz, 6 months before. And there's an article that came out last week, and I already knew this happened, but they actually admitted, this guy admitted the other day, he did it because Daniel Horowitz was his attorney. I can guarantee you right now, it was a hit. You people need to realize what you've done to this poor boy by not doing anything but sitting on your fannies, and I'm sick of it. It's about time people realize the truth. Can you imagine if this was your child or your grandchild? Do you have children? I know you do. I've looked you all up. Everybody here has children or grandchildren or people that they love. Can you imagine? He's been raped. He's been abused for 20 years while the person who allegedly didn't commit the murder walks around with a wife that he was allegedly having an affair with and has 2 children with now. He's on record with another woman who got threatened with having her child taken away in a custody battle because she saw him flirting and then disappearing into a bedroom with another woman who was her best friend. This is all on record, but you know what? The news didn't cover it. The DA's office didn't want it to appear in trial. His court-appointed attorney was criminal, to be honest with you. Please wake up to the fact that there's a boy suffering, and this could be your child. This could be all of our children. I've got children too. I'm pissed off, and I have a right to be. Get off your asses and do something. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Any questions? No questions. Thank you.
Ralph Hernandez, to be followed by Sheila Castilla.
I'm sorry, you gonna reset the time? Or- Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ralph Hernandez. I am a private investigator and consultant, former police officer, and former Antioch City Council member. I also, in my early career, was complimented in writing by the FBI Director, Clarence Kelly, for my abilities and knowledge, having worked with the FBI in various capacities. Scott Dulesky is innocent. I have investigated the case since his appeal when I was hired in November of 2011. That's 6 years after the incident happened. Scott Dulesky was framed. He was railroaded. The public has been fed a bunch of BS. Scott Dulesky was a resident of Lafayette, and because he was poor, he was easily picked on and blamed. Scott Dulesky needs your help. I have been working for 14 years now, to get him a new trial. At the new trial, everything that I have developed, everything that was used against him will come out and should come out. He needs you, the public figures, to help him. You know, because of the stupidity of the initial investigation, including the refusal of the district attorney's office, public defender's office, who poorly represented him, as well as the board of supervisors basically covering it up, there's still a murderer, if not plural, murderers in your community who killed Pamela Vitale. You are not safe here. If you think you are, you're not. I will answer your questions here from my memory. I have evidence that I have collected over the years. Example, there were 3 search dogs separately who searched for the responsibles on the day of the murder. They went to one place and one place over, only never to Scott's house. That's very telling. This one renter on the properties out there, he went through 3 separate lie detector tests. And the examiners found that there's one particular suspect. He was deceptive. He deceived them on the critical questions. Any questions?
Thank you. Do you have any questions for the speaker?
Okay.
No, thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Thank you.
Basically,
We have to make you
protect
wrap
your
up.
community. Protect your community.
Thank you.
Because the actual murderer is still here.
Thank you.
Sheila Castilla,
Thank
to
you.
be followed by Jennifer Paul.
Hello, my name is Sheila Castilla, and I am a resident of Lafayette, and I wasn't able to speak at the last meeting concerning the free speech issue, so that's why I'm here today. Free speech is the bedrock of our democracy and one of our most cherished rights under the Constitution. It's important that if citizens feel strongly about a matter, that they have the right to express their thoughts and opinions in a peaceful manner. The signs, messages, and protests in front of the Lafayette Elementary School that alert parents, community members, and other children to the dangers of puberty blockers, hormones, and surgeries to transition a child's biological sex is protected free speech. I applaud the excellent work by our Lafayette Chief of Police and the analysis done by our city attorney, who stated that time, place, and manner restrictions cannot be used to bar protests from occurring during school pickup and drop-off or to relocate protests away from the school because it does not allow protesters to reach their target audience. It makes me proud to be a member of the Lafayette community when everyone can exercise their fundamental rights to free speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? No, thank you for your comments.
Jennifer Paul, to be followed by Pat Huey.
I was just waiting for the timer, but okay, great. Good evening. Tonight, in another room of the library, the Design Review Commission will likely approve the Terraces developer's request to remove an accessible pedestrian pathway from Pleasant Hill Road. According to the architect, KTGY, the steep slopes and significant elevation changes make an accessible route to the pool and fitness room impractical. I agree, that area is challenging, as they said, and it does pose a lot of difficulties. But the frustrating part is that 10 years ago in this very room, I and many residents raised these exact concerns about the impracticality of placing a sports field 60 to 80 feet above a parking lot when we were looking at the homes of Deer Hill, and how we were going to get a pathway to even connect them. But KTGY was also the architect during then. Where was the analysis? Where was the concern for this? And where is the outrage now that this is just coming out? Numerous residents urged the removal of the sports field so that the home project could be considered on its own, but our pleas were ignored. And now, when the obvious truth comes out that the pathway isn't feasible, we knew that, it's just going to be allowed to slide. The developer and the architect are just going to be let off the hook, and the residents, we're going to lose yet again. I'm here, though, instead of downstairs, not because I actually think we need to keep the pathway. I'm here asking you, the city, to remember back to that contentious time. None of you were on the council 10 years ago, but it stings. It stings that the pathway's removal is just going to be quietly approved without acknowledgement or humility from the city, and it feels like gaslighting yet again. It feels like when in 2010, the council directed staff to downzone the Deer Hill parcel to LR5, but city staff never enacted that zoning. Residents cried foul, nothing happened, it got memory hold. Feels like 2013 when the terrorist developer in this room said, I know that the 315 unit project is a non-starter. They proposed a new version. It was cut by 1/3 to 208 in this very room, and it never got mentioned. After the homes came and went, it got memory hold. We all know history has a way of repeating itself. So I'm just asking you to learn from the past mistakes that have occurred, listen to residents, and commit to better transparency in future decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? No, but thank you.
Pat Huey, to be followed by Lisa Deesbro.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. I have been a Democrat for most of my life. I stand in support of citizens to peacefully gather outside schools to express concerns about harms that are being done to our children. One of our citizens, Lisa Disbrow, a longtime teacher, speaks the truth. Children cannot change their sex. They are far too young to be making these kinds of decisions. Most children who are diagnosed with gender dysphoria outgrow it. Puberty blockers and hormones are not reversible, though the trans medical community claims that they are.
Ma'am, at the last hearing, we as a city we have no purview over the school's policies. And so the topics that you're bringing up are more of a school policy issue and not a city policy. We have no purview. And so if you can keep it to the protests.
Yeah, that's
keep it to the protests. But if it's not the city's purview and there's nothing we can do about it, our city attorney has said that we can stop it.
I'm going to talk about free speech.
Okay, so let's get to the free speech part. That would be really helpful. Thank you.
Okay, but I need to get to, let me finish, please. These drugs cause sterility, bone loss, liver damage, kidney failure, cancer, memory loss, and other ailments. Puberty blockers are not even designed for a healthy child's puberty. They're designed for other issues such as prostate cancer or to castrate sex offenders. Why would anyone advocate for the castration of children? Parents must have the right to know the full story about so-called gender-affirming care. What lessons are you teaching the children of Lafayette by restricting citizens' rights to peacefully protest outside our schools? You are teaching them that if they have a differing opinion, if they try to engage in civil discourse, then they must be silenced. How very much in lockstep this is as we march further and further away from being a true democracy. When you limit the free speech of one citizen, you limit the rights of all citizens.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Lisa Deesbro, to be followed by Kristen Anderson.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Disbrow, and I'm an American. I'm a teacher, and I'm a member of many organizations that protect human life and their dignity. I'm a protector. I took an oath to the US Constitution as a public school teacher. I resigned my career because my constitutional rights were being violated and the rights of others were being violated. On April 14th, this council had a discussion regarding my protests in front of Lafayette Elementary. No violations were ever cited that I committed. Violations against me were cited. In addition to that, 2 gentlemen have accosted me in front of the school. Like many in the community, I oppose certain concepts that are not subject matter oriented. Our schools are subject matter oriented. They have assumed the role of dictating identity issues. I want to remind the council that Mayor Candel has recently, in the Desagnes Town Hall, promoted protests and in support of illegal Kilmar Garcia. And your comments were, Mayor, what do? We fight, we fight. We have weekly protests every Tuesday night from 5 to 6. Clear your calendars to peacefully protest. For an MS-13, convicted illegal. We're here to fight for our beloved champion, Mark Desagnes. My question to you is, what about our beloved students, our beloved families, and their futures as young adults? Can we come together and have a town hall for them? Here in Lafayette, all voices that don't submit to the DEI CRT ideology are silenced. We're mocked, we're demeaned. Can we have a town hall where we have civil discussion on these important issues that affect us all? That is what true diversity, true inclusivity looks like. That's the American way, to have open civil discussion. We need to model that for our children, and that's what I think you could do to make a huge advancement in the interest of La Miranda at large. And I will say this, there are investigations about our school district and our
If you
city
could please wrap it up,
council.
thank you.
I will. All of these issues are being heard in litigations across the nation and before the Supreme Court.
Thank you, please, thank you. Any questions for the speaker? No questions, thank you.
Kristen Anderson to be followed by Joan Belgard.
Hi, my name is Kristen Anderson. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm a registered Democrat, and I'm just coming here after reviewing the April 14th meeting minutes for this group, and just listening to the words that were written down. It seemed that people are concerned about safety hazards from drivers not paying attention around the school drop-off zone, and about the protests that are going on. But it's my understanding in reading the meeting minutes, there have been no blockage of the sidewalk. There hasn't been any action by the protesters that is interfering with anyone else's right to move on the sidewalk or on the road. So I guess if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at a map right here of Lafayette Elementary School and thinking, if you have problems around the drop-off zone on Moraga Road, maybe it's time to enforce a lower speed limit around that area so that it is a safer zone altogether. And that is done in many jurisdictions all around the place. So anyways, I'm here in favor of free speech and supporting the right of anyone to hold a sign as long as they're not impeding the flow of traffic or people on a sidewalk. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? No, thank you.
Joan Belgard to be followed by the persons in our virtual audience.
Good evening. My name is Jack Belgard. I'm a supporter of freedom of speech. I just want to reiterate, and I think your city attorney knows this based off of the minutes from the last meeting that I was here for, a public sidewalk is a public sidewalk. Doesn't matter what the signage says, doesn't matter how offended you are by it, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. One argument that was mentioned in the prior meeting was, is the target audience being met? That doesn't matter. The First Amendment doesn't state that anywhere. If I want to go out and scream at the sky because I'm upset with who won the election, I can do that. That's my right to do so. Another argument that was mentioned was the protesters are going to cause a collision. God forbid someone's going to get hit, and as horrible as that might be, it wouldn't be their fault. Based off of the testimony brought by the crossing guard gentleman who was here last time, he said that he saw drivers, adults, take their hands off the wheel to take pictures and to record the protesters and their signs. Well, based off of that testimony, If there were to be a collision of some sort, it wouldn't be Lisa's fault or her team. It would be the driver's fault. Keep your hands on the wheel, act like an adult, and keep calm. At the end of the day, freedom of speech is a God-given right. It is, and anyone who wants to impose some kind of restriction on it on a sidewalk is a tyrant. And we all read 1984 in high school or in middle school that was written by George Orwell. Freedom of speech is, at the end of the day, what makes America American. And I hope it's in this city's best interest to not impose any restriction on anyone's right to say what they want. If you don't like what their signs have to say, then counter-protest it. Good speech is how you combat bad speech. But at the end of the day, there's no such thing as bad speech. It's all free. You can say what you want to say, and I can say what I want to say. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions for the minute and 10 seconds I have left.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to the speakers in our virtual audience. Our first speaker is Aaron Friday, to be followed by James Cook.
Hi, good evening. My name is Erin Friday. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm a licensed attorney. I also am the president of Our Duty, a national nonpartisan, non-religious group of advocates whose mission is to safeguard children and vulnerable adults from the mental and medical harms of the gender industry. My child thought that she was a transgender boy for 2 years, and with love and compassion, she reverted back to being comfortable in her natural body. So I want to personally thank Lisa Disbrow, who has been peacefully educating parents and the public on a public sidewalk, which is completely legal and within the First Amendment, in front of an elementary school, that the transgender movement is one of the most insidious medical crimes of our lifetime. Transgenderism is the most unkind belief system conjured up because it preys upon children.
Keep it to the protests, please. Thank you.
Why do I need to keep it to the protest?
Because it's not our purview. It's not our purview. We have no control over what you are commenting on.
I'm educating you about how horrible gender ideology is. Are
Can
you telling
our
me that
city attorney-
I have to speak on what you only want me to speak on because that's a violation of my First Amendment right? You can ignore me.
No, just to clarify, public comment is for items that are not on the agenda, that are within the city council's purview. That is what the mayor is trying to get you to speak about. The items you're currently discussing are not within the council's purview.
Sure. Well, then let's talk about the First Amendment. So the First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason, because it is the foundation of our country's freedoms. And I don't think any member of the public, whether you don't like their message, that's called viewpoint discrimination. If you don't like their message, it doesn't matter. They have the right to protest peacefully as long as they are not impeding anyone's passage. They are allowed to protest. And I am so proud to stand with Lisa Disbrow on this issue, and more people need to be taking up this issue, and including the city council should be looking at this issue and what is happening to your constituents with this transgender movement harming our children. Thank you so much.
All right, any questions for the speaker? No, thank you.
James Cook, to be followed up by David Bertie.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So, yeah, James Cook here. So what I want to talk about today is what the city is trying to actually just consider, which would be an ordinance for that specific space. So if you actually talk to Walnut Creek, so we were out there in front of the Planned Parenthood, and they made 2 ordinances because of us. They made a bubble ordinance and they made a NORS ordinance. Neither of those did what the city council planned it to do. So they were actually in shock where it didn't do anything to change our free speech. So what you're trying to do, which I talked to one of your council members after the last meeting, is if you go ahead and enact this ordinance, it's not going to stop Lisa from actually holding signs. So you are really spinning your wheels, and you should talk to your neighbors down the street at the Walnut Creek City Council, because it's not going to push her away or to stop her free speech. You're simply wasting the taxpayers' money and time there at Lafayette, because you can't stifle free speech. It's not going to push her down the street, because you'll just have to go to court, and it's going to come out in court. But what you're going to find out is that you can make all the ordinances you want, but it will not push people that want to protest the school out of the way. And I'm just telling you that you should talk to Walnut Creek, because they wasted a lot of time and a lot of money to do nothing, actually. We actually are right there in front of the driveways. We actually get to talk to people. We actually do the same things that we've been doing, but it was because of the very few people that didn't like the message. That's exactly what they're protesting. That's exactly why you're listening to the very, very, very few people that live in your city, and you're actually jumping through the hoops that you want them to jump through. And what I'm saying is that there's distracted drivers there without Lisa. And any judge worth their weight will see that Lisa's not causing anything to be unsafe. What you're hearing is a very few people. They got 400 signatures. How many people do you represent in the city of Lafayette? You're going to compare that to the whole population, and you're listening to the little tiny group of people that don't like the message. And it is about the message. You can't deny that. I saw you this weekend or this last week, and you're rallying people to go protest. And you should just get out of the way and let freedom ring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the speaker? No, thank you.
David Bertie, to be followed by Rob Lavoy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I'm going to talk about the town meeting that was held in Lafayette last Monday, April 23rd, by the U.S. representative to our 10th district, a Democrat. At the beginning of the YouTube video I watched, Lafayette Mayor Susan Candell condemned the Trump administration. The mayor then discussed the ongoing anti-Trump protests in Lafayette and said the following, quote, "We have weekly protests right here in Lafayette every Tuesday night from 5 to 6. Clear your calendars, stop making excuses, and get down there and peaceably protest." Unquote. These protests that the mayor is promoting are at the busiest intersection in Lafayette, at Mount Diablo Boulevard and Moraga Road. Many people attend, over 50, sometimes more, I understand, and with their many signs, maybe 20 signs at a time. My wife told me she was delayed over 30 minutes by one of these protests when coming home from work. Contrast these large anti-Trump protests with the small protests with signs at the Lafayette Elementary School on Moraga Road, just down the street. You can see the intersection from there, where the counter-protesters often outnumber the protesters. These protesters are against the Lafayette School's teachings of gender ideology and its support for so-called gender-affirming care for its minor students. Safety issues about these school protests were discussed at length at the City Council meeting on the 14th, but I've heard nothing about the anti-Trump protests nearby. During the City Council discussion on April 14th, a petition was read asking the city to suppress these school protests. It is titled, "Petition to Keep Lafayette Students Safe from Traffic Distractions Caused by the Protesters." It begins, "We, the undersigned residents, parents, educators, and community members of Lafayette are deeply concerned about the safety risks posed by recent protests at Lafayette Elementary School. The protesters are asking Lafayette City Council to establish a protest-free zone around the schools for the duration of school activity. Petition has many comments I recommend you watch, but there are also comments that expose the real purpose, such as, can we get a restraining order against Lisa Dubrow? I find their protests to be unsafe and a large distraction. Also, I disagree with them. The awful, painful, horrible signs by Monuments of Liberty, Lisa and her crew spread lies and create an unsafe environment for the family. To summarize, the mayor of the city of Lafayette recently asked local citizens to demonstrate against the federal executive administration about national issues over which the city has no authority. I believe that appeal was inappropriate, and I asked the city council to try to remain neutral about these two protests and not pick sides. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? All right, no, thank you.
Our last speaker is Rob Lavoie.
Rob, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Somebody stole my camera off the computer. I won't take the full 3 minutes because most of my points have been mentioned by others already. So I just want to encourage the city council to remain neutral in the commenting on political events that aren't related to the city of Lafayette. The mention of the protesting for at the major intersection of Mount Diablo and Moraga Road and Mount Diablo, which I also witnessed. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have those protests there, but it's a much bigger safety hazard than the small protests over by Lafayette Elementary. And so I think the council needs to be very careful and very consistent if they're going to promote the one on Mount Diablo near the sidewalk that was removed for a while because of safety concerns between the park and Bank of America. So anyway, I think people will appreciate the council remaining politically neutral and focusing on issues like housing and keeping the state from ruining our city with the laws that they're making. So thank you very much. And that's all I have.
Any questions for the speaker? All right, no, thank you.
Mayor Kendall, I have no additional speakers at this time.
Great, thank you. All right, we'll move on. City manager's update.
Thank you. Good evening, council. A few updates from city departments. From emergency preparedness, an invitation for everyone to attend Consolidated Fire's Wildfire Community Preparedness Day. It's this Saturday from 9 to noon. The city of Lafayette will be represented there. We will have a booth, a patrol car, and information about our efforts towards preparedness and evacuations. Also a reminder that this Saturday is Lafayette Community Day, so there's a lot going on at the same time. From the Public Art Committee, don't miss Poetry for the Ages. It's a lunchtime event from noon to 1:15 tomorrow at the Town Hall Theater. Enjoy a lineup of local poets, followed by an artist talk by Bushra Gill. This is a free event and open to all, hosted by our Public Art Committee, La Miranda Arts Council, and the Town Hall Theater. And finally, from Parks, Trails, and Recreation, if you recall, a few years ago, PG&E offered to install an emergency generator at the Lafayette Community Center in the JRB building, which would serve as a community resource center when we lost power during a PSPS event. Well, the term for that installation is over, but PG&E has extended the term for an additional 5 years. So we thank PG&E for that. The center will serve as an area where people can come if they lose power to charge their phones and other equipment. And it's a partnership that is now, in 5 years in the row. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Any public comment?
No comments?
Oh, great, thank you. I'm going to propose, now the next item is the ETF coming in, which is really great. Right after that, if we could move item 14, sorry. 15, yeah, sorry, 15A, up after the ETF presentation.
You can come and sit here.
Would that be okay? Can I have a motion? All right. Move item 15A up. Great. Great. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, so we'll move 15A up after the ETF.
Do we have members from the environmental
Oh,
task?
yeah, please come up. I'm sorry, yes.
They were being so polite.
Oh, you're being so polite. I figured you'd be up there setting up.
Good evening, Council. My name is Ashley Louisiana. I'm a member of the Lafayette Environmental Task Force.
Good evening. My name is Maria Gastelum.
Closer, can you get closer? Yeah.
My name is Maria Gastelumendi. I am the co-chairman. She is the chairperson of our committee. I live in Lafayette and I own a business in Lafayette.
Just in
A
time.
new member.
Hi, my name is Nancy Hu. I've been an ETF member since 2017. I used to be vice chair as well as chair of the ETF. And I do just want to recognize Anna Toll, our wonderful staff liaison who's here, who is always so helpful. So thank you for being here. If we could bring up the first slide, if we're ready. Oh, okay.
No, there's a mic for Anna if she needs it.
The ETF is going to talk about our 2024 accomplishments and what our goals are for the upcoming year.
2024 was a busy year for the committee. To begin with, we restructured the way we operated. In the past, we used to have different committees according to what the ETF wanted to work. But last year, we decided that we were going to have one committee that was going to work in this leaf-blower ordinance. And I think it was the right decision. We were very coordinated in what we did. The first thing, we worked with the city liaison and we had a survey that gave us a good impression of what is the feeling of the community about the electrification, canceling gas leaf blowers and moving into electrical leaf blowers. Also, the committee decided that it was important to create a lending program of these new machines and also induction cooktops, because it is the process many cities are moving, and many cities have already this lending program. So we partner with Parks and Recreation as the one that was going to monitor this lending program. We requested some help from the city to buy a small electrical leaf blower and a commercial electrical leaf blower. And also we bought a little portable induction cooktop and a wok cooktop, also induction, to demystify the relationship between the people who cook and the new system of induction cooktops. In the process of trying to educate the community, we developed a flyer, a bilingual flyer, a brochure, and we distribute this information through as many ways as possible. The Lafayette city ran a mailing to every member in the community. The community center had a brochure that included this information, the upcoming of the electrification of leaf blowers, and also the induction cooktops. The newspapers had articles about it, with nice pictures of the process, and not only was about the electrification of the leaf blowers, but also the lending program, how it was going to work. We contact a business, a local business that sells these kinds of things, gas leaf blowers and electrical leaf blowers, and he attended one of our meetings, and we partnered with them to not only to distribute this information, the brochures and the flyers, but also they offer a 20% discount on anyone who was going to buy an electrical leaf blower. So that was a fantastic partnership with Cresco. Also, the Rising Loafer, my business, was a center of distributing these flyers and the brochures and the garden signs that eventually we had 150 garden signs that were distributed through the community. And that is the mailing. All the flyers were bilingual, so both parties were people who could not use the English language could have access to this information. The city offered us to promote this ordinance at the Safeway marquee a few times in the year, so the community had to see that sign one way or another. And we had some little movies that were made of people who were using the electrical leaf blowers that were promoted by the online service of the city. Council, the former council Walk was our liaison council, and he presented this information at the community center, the garden center. We also got help from the Lafayette, Sustainable Lafayette, with the paying for 2 banners that were posted at this high school, Acalanes High School, and the community garden for a while. So that information was spread as much as we could. We continue our work, and I think this is for the next chapter for you.
Sure. Yeah. Moving on to the next slide. Just to continue our accomplishments, these are some of the initiatives that Anna and the ETF somewhat monitor. We recognized 8 community members last year in April for Earth Day for the Green Awards, from students to organizations, businesses, and residents for their different environmental actions and projects in Lafayette, and we hope to do that in the future. The city decided to become a member of the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge. We had 443 households signed up, which was an increase from 2023. The goal is 500, and residents can still go participate in this challenge today. That is live on the Sustainable Contra Costa website. Our C&D diversion is up in 2024 from about 80% to 86%. We're seeing more recycled materials, a slight increase in reuse. So that's really great to see. And then we are discussing our EV charging stations. We have level 2, I think, charging stations, and it's been in discussions of, if we want a level 3 and what community members need. So that is always something we're tossing back and forth of looking for funding to possibly install a level 3 charger. So those are updates that we monitor each year. And we can move on to the next slide.
Moving forward to 2025 and continuing our work with the electrification plan, removing gas leaf blowers, implementing the ordinance, the ETA committee considers that education is very important. It is still not, seems like not enough people have heard about the ordinance. There are lots of complaints. We appreciate very much that now the city has hired someone that can help us in enforcing code violations. We foresee that 2025 is going to be a heavy area to continue educating our community. We notice that we need to ask directions from the city because we notice that there are serious violations from apartment buildings as well as business complex, and it is difficult for us to address to whom the information. We really cannot target the workers because the ordinance is written towards the owner of the property or the owner or the manager of the complex, not to the workers. So it's a little bit difficult to handle this situation, and we need guidance from you people. We also would like to request access to the marquee, the Safeway marquee, at least 4 times a year to keep flashing this information that the ordinance exists and whoever is using gas leaf blower is in violation of this ordinance in the most friendly way possible as a reminder. And basically, we plan to continue working with our partners, the Chamber of Commerce, Sustainable Lafayette, and our liaison from the city. It's still a continued work in progress.
Okay, and the final slide. The ETF has been considering a foodware ordinance or some form of that for many years, actually. We've had a draft ordinance prior to the pandemic, and then that kind of changed the landscape of the restaurant industry. We've had some years to recover, and now it seems like counties and different jurisdictions are coming back to these ordinances. So like Maria said, last year, the ETF, instead of having various committees, we decided as a group that we would vote on what we would like to prioritize for the year. So as a group, we voted that we would like to work on single-use plastics and throwaway materials. So we've come back to our draft ordinance. The key and requirements in that ordinance would look something like reusables for dine-in, potentially a 25-cent customer fee for single-use cups, to-go cups, and then requirements around recyclable or compostable materials for to-go orders. Those are kind of the areas that jurisdictions do something around. The ETF members have been going to a regional California-wide foodware working group to see how other cities pass this ordinance, what the requirements are, their outreach plans, funding. So we're tracking many other jurisdictions throughout the state. We got a survey live with the city as of last week that residents can find on the Environmental Task Force webpage. That asks residents, what initiatives are they in support of, if they have additional ideas, if they'd like to follow the process and leave their email. So that is available online. Our booth was focused on encouraging residents to bring reusables at Earth Day yesterday. We had the survey there. We've received 20 responses so far, mostly in favor of the requirements. Some questions around the 25-cent customer fee for the to-go cups. That's an iffy area. So the survey is live. I think the ETF plans to follow, we hope to follow the same strategy as last year for the electric leaf blower ordinance as far as surveys, community engagement, outreach to really understand where our community is at, understanding these requirements, especially our business community. So we hope to do a lot of work there before we would even bring an ordinance to City Council. We have a lot of work to do this year. In order to do that work, the ETF did receive some funding last year for the leaf blower ordinance, and we were hoping in order to do any outreach and education this year that we might work with staff to work with you guys throughout your budget process to get some sort of funding to do outreach and education this year. And with that, I think we could take questions unless Nancy wants to.
Do you want to add anything?
Okay.
Great, thank you so much. Excellent report. What I'm hearing is that you're going to be requesting budget, but that'll be during our normal budget talks, which is great. But you were asking for some code enforcement guidance for the gas blowers. Is that what I was hearing? You wanted some, that's what I heard. Maybe I was not hearing correctly.
I think
it is more how to address the issue of absentee owners or managers that are not in the location where the violation happens. It's very difficult to contact the person that is responsible, the one that hires the workers that are using gas leaf blowers still in the community. We cannot talk with the workers. That is not the way the ordinance has been written. So the violations are continuing in a regular basis. So we are not accomplishing what we want. So we need to know, how do we want to address, how do you propose that we should address that issue?
Thank you, that's more clear on what you were being asking. Thank you. Do you have any other questions? Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Great, thank you for all the work you do. I mean, you guys are tireless, and we really appreciate the outcomes. A couple questions, though, this is the question part. You mentioned the C&D, the construction demolition waste, the target that we have now is 86%. Is ETF is that just more reporting what's happening, or was ETF doing something to kind of help improve the construction and demolition waste?
It's been on our to-do list. I think it was one of the considerations that we could have voted on if we wanted to prioritize that this year. It's mainly monitoring. Anna's the main staff person who monitors that. But we have debated some sort of reuse or deconstruction ordinance in Lafayette. There is current code that one of my predecessors helped the city of Lafayette pass to require 75% diversion instead of the statewide 65%. So that actually is the current Lafayette code, I believe. So we'd be one of the first cities around to take that next step. So that's something we could consider in the future. It's something Lafayette has already considered. So it's on our to-do list.
Okay, right, because I would just suggest that there's going to be a lot of construction, a lot of housing being built over the next few years. And so I think having a, kind of a forward-thinking policy on that would be useful. And I think you guys are the ones to kind of research it and figuring out. That's just my opinion. The second question I had was on the foodware, the single-use foodware. And I thought one of the situations we had a year or two ago was that, the state was moving pretty fast in this area. And so it didn't make as much sense for the local jurisdictions to do things, because then we get then people compare the city against city and what we're doing. Is the state not moving forward with this, or why are we not? I'm just kind of curious why we're thinking we would do it ourselves versus wait for the state. Are they kind of slow rolling it, or what's happening there?
Yeah, great question. I think in the regional statewide meeting that we've been participating in, that's exactly the comments that are being passed around California is don't necessarily focus on the types of materials that businesses can use, recyclable, compostable. California is probably going to take care of that in the future, but to focus more on the reusables. So there is still work that we could do with the commercial sector as far as single-use disposable items, we could really focus on the reusables aspect of it. Also, the state did pass a statewide law, Senate Bill SB 54, that was really focusing on the types of materials that could be sold in the state of California, but that is on hold right now. So we were excited to see the state implement some sort of requirements, but I'm not sure when that will happen at this point, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, Nancy.
One more?
Yeah, I just had a quick comment about, so that was a very good point about how the state is starting to mandate more recyclable, more recycled content, materials, as well as things that are considered more compostable. That doesn't necessarily go into trying to encourage reuse, which is something that's a lot easier, I think, to do at the more local level with the cities. And as we've been working with Recycle Smart, as Ashley Louisiana is from Recycle Smart, she let us know that there is actually funding from Recycle Smart to help local businesses transition to reusables on site. So that includes having silverware as well as bowls and cups and those sort of things, even dishwashers, so that businesses can make the transition and save money in doing so. And right now, even though we've had the funding for it, a lot of businesses have not responded to the idea, I think because there's no incentive to change. And so part of us thinking about doing some sort of ordinance to get people thinking about it is that maybe that'll kickstart the idea of trying to bring reuse into their own businesses to save money as well as reduce waste and help the community in that way, so.
Thank you, helpful.
I just want to say thank you. I know, Nancy, obviously that was a long time with that ordinance and working on it before COVID hit, and here it's back, but I'm glad it's a focus. And I appreciate, all of you with your business yourself, and Ashley, what you bring with your professional work that you're doing. So I know that Recycle Smart is working with some schools, hopefully, to get dishwashers in, so that's kind of a good thing. But wherever we can gain extra money, I think that's good. So I do appreciate that connection. I did have a question about did you mention Cresco? Are they offering a discount for electric blowers?
They did offer.
Oh, okay, is that over now? Is that a short time?
I actually don't know if they're still offering the discount, but when I did talk to them, they were very on board with the ordinance as well as helping with the education. And when I asked for clarification on the discount that they were offering, they said it was 20%, I think, toward a rental of a commercial backpack.
Oh, for the rental so that they could try it. Okay, I get it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for your work. I know it's a long slog to these things, and the reach codes are definitely, reach codes, but it still takes a lot of work. And the best thing you guys are doing is education. So really do appreciate those efforts. Thank you.
And I'd like to also say thank you for the effort you're making. This is all very important as sort of moving our community along. I think for me, the foodware issue is a really complicated one. It impacts every restaurant, and there are many, and every grocery store, and probably others I can't even think of. And I think the community survey is a great idea, but some sort of survey of the business community, because this could have a real impact for them, would be really pretty critical, I would think. And if the state isn't acting, maybe getting a sense, it's not quite a survey, but what other communities are doing, have done, what are lessons learned, if any, so we can sort of go to school on that effort, I think could be really informative in terms of like thinking through what's a good, coherent, strategy to address this that doesn't negatively impact the business community. I think finding that balance, I think, would be really important. And love the community survey idea, but maybe this other kind of a survey too for the business side and of other cities that may have implemented something like this. Just a thought.
There is a very serious movement going into reusables. I think she gave you the numbers of the pollution that the food to go and boxes that supposedly are biodegradable that creates. It's staggering nationwide. So the nationwide, there is a heavy movement about introducing more reuses. I am in a pilot program. I am doing reuses for over a year. It's complicated, and we have to find out. We are in that transition, in that moment, to try to learn which other cities had already implemented the reuse program through this nation organization. Seems like we have a couple local cities in the Bay Area who had moved already at that level. So we need to know how they operate, because they talk about having a company that picks up the things and washes them and returns them. So people who take the container with the food, they don't have to go back to the place where they pick the bags. They can drop it at a general bags. So it will take more than just a restaurant and the box to be reused. We are working on it.
Thank you.
Promise, we are looking at all the possibilities, how to solve this problem of garbage.
Thank you so much. Any other, a public comment?
Mayor Candell, no public comments on this item.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you guys are doing, and continue on, and we'll try to help you as much as we can.
Actually, Mayor, I
got one.
overlooked Rob Lavoy in our virtual audience. So, Mr. Lavoy.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this. I have a question and a couple of comments. As a business owner and a former restaurant and a consultant to restaurants for 30 years. My question was, there was a comment about the EV charging stations generated 12,000 of income, I believe, to the city. And I was just wondering what the cost of that was to the city, as that should always be compared. Hopefully somebody has the answer to that, or they can get back later. Let's see, and then the comments, I just suppose the making criminals out of residents who are exercising their energy freedom. The leaf blower law is one example of that, and I made comments previously about that. There's a good book by Stephen Koonin that talks about what climate science tells us, what it doesn't, and why it matters. I'd recommend that to anybody that wants to think about that. And the changes in the food industry, the restaurants, they're already bombarded by higher minimum wages every year. There's restaurants are trying to figure out, how they can afford to have the employees that they need. They're, still recovering from COVID and all the problems there. And so forcing them to go with higher cost items is just not really a possibility. There's a group of people that are mandating what businesses do, and they're not the ones that are putting the capital in and writing the paychecks. So it's really unfair for people who don't have businesses, telling them how to run it and not providing the capital. So if you can't find cheap enough substitutes, then you just have to leave people the freedom to choose what works for their business.
Are you done?
I guess that's it. I was just looking through my scattered notes here. Sorry.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Any questions for the speaker? No, thank you. Okay, so thank you all again, and good luck. Yes. Okay, so we are moving item 15A up, which is, sorry, scrolling down here. Email from Elizabeth Johnson, who is the Parkinson's Network of Mount Diablo, requesting a proclamation recognizing April as Parkinson's Month in Lafayette. And I have a proclamation here, and we have to actually vote on that in order to adopt it. But before we vote on that, do we have any public comment?
Cheryl, would you like to speak?
Thank you to the city for even considering this proclamation. I really appreciate it, and I hope that the council will listen to me and understand that I'm just representing a very large group of people that have this disease. So I'm putting a big foot forward to be here in public speaking. I'm usually at home on Zoom without my picture. And there's a reason for that. So I'm speaking because in the proclamation it says that 90,000 people are diagnosed per year. I'm one of the ones that was of the 90,000 that were diagnosed last year. As you can tell, I'm still coming to terms with it. I'm learning that Parkinson's is not me, it's just part of me. Let me put my glasses on. Many of us think of Michael J. Fox as he has the tremors, but there are many other symptoms besides that many of us face. For me personally, it's my face. There's a whole thing called the Parkinson's mask, which means it's really hard. If you tell me a joke, I will laugh and smile. But otherwise, I really have to think with intent to smile. So here's me with intent, smiling. But I'm going to lose it again. One of the other things that happens with Parkinson's is that we get smaller. So our steps get smaller, our voice gets softer, our handwriting gets smaller. And everybody that has Parkinson's will have these symptoms and will work really hard to make us big voice, big writing, big steps. We work on that daily. Many of us shy away from being in public engagements, parties, because of embarrassment. I have a friend who has it, and he has Parkinson's, tremors in his hands. He keeps it in his pocket. So it's not a shame. It's just us coming to terms with it, I think. But I'm not trying to be all down about this. There's a lot of hope in the Parkinson's world. Research is being done at UCSF and Stanford. They're making progress on helping us slow this disease down, and I'm very, very hopeful. And then the other thing I want to mention is that there's a really, really wonderful organization that I happened to fall upon via a friend. It's called the Parkinson's Network of Mount Diablo, and it's in Walnut Creek, and it is absolutely wonderful for exercise, social engagement, and getting tips. So it's not all doom and gloom. I just wanted to put my face out there for this disease. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wait, 1 second.
Sorry. Thank you for your comments. I just want to let you know you're welcome to speak in person here anytime. We want to see your face, we want to hear your thoughts and opinions. And we are behind you all the way. So let us know anything we can do.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing, Cheryl.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Any other speakers?
No additional speakers at this time, Mayor Kendall.
Okay, so we have read this. I would like to read this, but let's vote on it first, and then I will read it. So I have a motion.
I have a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I will take a moment to read this. Parkinson's Awareness Month. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic progressive neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative disease in the United States, and whereas Parkinson's disease is estimated to affect approximately 1 million people in the United States, and the prevalence will rise to 1.2 million by 2030, and whereas 90,000 new people are diagnosed each year in the United States with Parkinson's, whereas Parkinson's is the 14th leading cause of death in the United States, according to the CDC, and it is estimated that the economic burden of Parkinson's disease is at least $52 billion annually, including direct and indirect costs, including treatment, Social Security payments, and lost income to patients and family members. Whereas research suggests the cause of Parkinson's disease is a combination of genetic and environmental factors, but the exact cause and progression of the disease is still unknown. There is no objective test or biomarker for Parkinson's, and there's no cure or drug to slow or halt the progression of the disease. And whereas the symptoms of Parkinson's disease vary from person to person and can include tremors, slowness of movement and rigidity, difficult with balance, swallowing, chewing, speaking, and showing facial expressions, cognitive impairment and dementia, mood disorders, and a variety of other non-motor symptoms. And whereas volunteers, research caregivers, and medical professionals are working to improve the quality of life of persons living with Parkinson's disease and their families. And whereas increased research, education, and community support services as those provided by the Parkinson's Foundation and other organizations are needed to find more effective treatments and to provide access to quality care to those living with the disease today. And it is resolved that the City Council of Lafayette does hereby proclaim April 2025 a Parkinson's Awareness Month in Lafayette. Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Yes. And who would like the proclamation? Who would, I think it's, sure. I have an uncle who had it and has passed away, and so it really hits home for me too. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Whew, that was a lot more emotional than I was expecting. All right, so now back to our normal consent calendar.
Mayor?
Yeah.
I'd like to request that we pull item 9C, Plaza Park Shops. I just have to make a correction.
Thank you. Any other items? Any other members of the public want to pull an item?
I have a hand raised by Rob Lavoy. He may want to pull an item.
Okay. Rob, did you want to pull something on the consent calendar?
Yes, item 9A, the minutes from the last meeting, please.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. So do I have a motion?
I will move to adopt the consent calendar with the exception of the minutes 9A and 9C. So basically,
9B.
Yeah, 9B.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now we're going to go back to items moved from consent. And so item 9A is first. All right, Rob, what are your issues?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Thank you. Let's see. The minutes that were transcribed for the meeting that are in the, for last meeting that are in the meeting this time only included one public comment on the item, I believe it was 9, the non-public or the items not for the agenda. And it was Rob Sturm's comments, but none of the other speakers. And I would like to ask that those be properly transcribed and added to the record.
Okay, so
We all know there was more than one speaker.
in the public comment item, the item's not on the agenda. Okay, I see
Well, I
a
believe that's
nodding.
where it
I see
was.
nodding of the heads of our city clerk.
We will bring those minutes back at your next meeting.
Sure, and we'll bring the minutes back.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, so then 9C.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to add that in addition to the list of stores that you see before you, we failed to add 2 more. One is Crushed Wine Bar. They only have one other branch in Danville. And the second is Big Wolf. It's a specialty pet boutique and spa.
I'm like, well, what did you say? Oh, it
Big
was Wolf.
It's a specialty boutique and spa.
Okay.
And both meet the guidelines of the Plaza Way overlay, and we are recommending approval.
Okay, any other questions, do we have any public comments?
No public comments?
Okay, so
Can I make one comment?
please, of course.
I wasn't going to pull this, but I just want it, I feel supremely unqualified to judge the viability of any of these businesses. And I know this is the way the agreement was written, and council has this approval, but just speaking, I have no idea what the market is for any of these kind of operations. And I know we're dealing with some of this crafted some years ago, but I kind of think that whether it should be 65% for food service limit or something higher, we want to have a viable, successful downtown, and I kind of think maybe more flexibility than this might be appropriate. And I don't know what that is, but I just want to say that I'll vote for this, certainly, but I'm no judge of any of these businesses and how good they are or what they would add to our community, so I'm kind of agnostic here. Just want to say.
That's fair. Question, are we going to bring the Plaza overlay back?
Yes.
Yes, I think we
It's
are.
on the work plan this year, yeah.
We are, and so basically your basic issues would be addressed probably during that conversation.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Super. All right, so do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
There you go.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Adopted as amended. Okay. All right, so we are up to council members' reports on activities and, oh, bless you, and items, future agenda. Do we have any?
I have one.
Yes, sure.
So I was privileged to be the council member to present our proclamation at the La Miranda Village lunch on Friday.
Oh, thank you.
Which was a terrific event. And I have to say, it's such, what an asset for La Miranda the village represents. And I had to start off by acknowledging Don Jenkins, because I got to know him a little bit through GPAC. And he's the guy who recruited me to join La Miranda Village over a beer at Headlands. And when he explained like what it was about, I thought, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I admitted I'm a very inactive member, but nonetheless, it's just a terrific part of our community. And I just thought I'm proud that we're supporting it. And the vibe in the room, I thought, was really just inspirational. So I just wanted to pass that on to the council, that I did fulfill my mission of delivering the proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any? Okay, so I have a couple. I'm going to just go really kind of quickly through them. First, Lafayette Community Day is this Saturday, and we are full. Like literally every single slot. We've had more volunteers and more projects this year than ever before, and it's really a great day. So if you didn't sign up, just get ready for next year. That is. We did the cancer support, community support groundbreaking last week, which was with Mark DeSaulnier and Senator Tim Grayson, Candace Anderson, and myself, plus there was, I don't know, 200 to 300 people there. It was outstanding. This is the right place for that, and could not be more excited. Apparently, it'll be done in 18 months.
Ooh, wow.
So, woohoo. Then follow that night was Mark DeSaulnier's town hall at Acalanes High School, which was also extremely well attended. And as you heard, I did speak, and I think it pertained to matters that are affecting our residents right here by our federal government. And so I was trying to be very cognizant of things that would affect our residents here. But that was a great event, and Mark's presence in the Capitol right now is, as a statesman, I would say, an older, he's been around for a while. It was, I think, a very calming effect on a lot of people in the audience, and that was nice. He's so knowledgeable of everything. Then on Friday, Senator Tim Grayson and Narup and I and Police Chief Jamie Williams, and then members of the Town Hall Theater, they had a little walkabout around Lafayette. And I think he and his staffer, they learned a lot about really what Lafayette is about. And we went to the Town Hall Theater, talked about 949 Moraga Road, and the La Miranda Care Collective, which is just an amazing place right on Oak Hill Road. Talked about the new project on Oak Hill Road. And they're just going, you guys, and then Huff, watching it being built. And like, you guys are doing a lot. It's like, yes, we are. We're building like crazy. And so he's maybe changing his tone about Lafayette. And, we have a reputation that is not representative of actually what we do here in Lafayette. And so we're going to try to change that reputation, one person at a time. And I think we did a great job. Our city manager did a banging job. And it was a really wonderful event. All right, I think that is it. Anything else? Okay, all right, no. All right, so next one is the bills of local importance in our legislative matrix.
And thank you, Mayor Kendall. I can start this off here. Would you like me to quickly walk through these or just?
It's up to, we're familiar with them.
Yeah.
It's if you guys want to.
I read through them, I'm okay either way, but you want to give us a highlight or two, but.
It's up to you.
Yeah, so the package summarized them. I think that there's one bill we're sort of washing, which is the last one on the list, SB 607, Wiener's bill with respect to CEQA, which is everybody's favorite touchdown in California. But the other bills we thought were address some of the topics that we're concerned about. Fire safety is an important one. The sort of mitigating or addressing potential legal liability, improving the RENA process. There are several bills in that regard, sort of hard-won lessons that we've gone through. So these are bills that sort of address a variety of those issues, and the legislative committee got together and thought that these were worth presenting to the council for support with one opposition. And then we might circle back on SB 607 depending on how that moves. That's a quick summary.
Any questions? All right, so do you want to go to the bill matrix? I don't know if Casey wants.
It's just a receive and file.
It's just a receive and file. Okay, great.
If the council has questions, Casey is available.
Okay, thank you. And so the Housing Committee last week did have a big, especially the Senate Housing Committee that Tim Grayson was on. It actually was very contentious for one of the first times in a long time in terms of who's the chair of the Senate Commission, who's Aisha Wahab. And there is, some thought into, are these bills really working?
Yeah.
Which is great, because we're supposed to be getting results here. And so there was, many people told me that they listened and thought that was very helpful, that all of a sudden, let's focus on just passing things blindly. Let's actually try to get some results out of some of these bills, which was nice. So do I have a motion do I have to vote on these to accept them?
Speakers.
Oh, public comment, sorry, yes.
David Clark.
Okay.
No, wait, you're on, not on this one, okay.
No
Mayor, you can move staff's recommendations in one motion.
Okay,
If
I just
you-
want to quickly just comment, thanks to Casey for the update that was sent earlier that you circulated. So, Casey, if you're out there, we appreciate that work.
Mm-hmm. All right, do we have a motion?
So I can move to accept staff's recommendation with respect to this agenda item.
And I'll second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and we're unanimous, thank you. Yeah. All right, and finally, 15B. I see some people here. All right, so this is the recommendation to approve request, so does somebody take that, or?
You do have a staff report for this one. Jonathan has prepared it.
Oh, great,
And
super.
staff is recommending approval. It's the kind of activity we'd like to see in our downtown.
So is Jonathan coming? No. Oh, he's not coming. Oh, I see. Oh, I was.
I'm
under the
sorry,
impression-
Mayor. This was the briefest of staff reports.
It is the
that we are
briefest.
recommending approval.
Okay, great. So do we have any questions?
I do have a question, and maybe that can be answered. I understand that it is, Princeton will have an intern here. Oh, she is, okay, because I would love to know how this kind of, just real quick, like how she just recommended, if it's something that they're approving in terms of her doing that. Okay.
Great, thank you. That used to be part of the public comment. Part of public comment, if she could address that, maybe how the internship came about, right? And how it morphed into this. That would be great, as some background. All right, any other questions? Oh, she does not have to be on then. Maybe mom can do a surrogate.
Yeah, just like.
Yeah. Okay, we're on to public comment. Sure.
David Clark.
Would you like to speak on this?
This may come as a surprise. This could be the quickest thing I've ever said, but I like this proposal. I ask that you accept it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Grace Dixon.
Yes, I'll speak for Eden. She's like, ah! So at any rate, it came about because Princeton has a John C. Bogle Fellowship, and 20 Princeton students get it every year. And it's for civic engagement, and it is renewable. So she applied, and she got it. And David actually is going to be her mentor and supervise her. But yes, in essence, we have her Princeton is paying for her to work full-time to raise money for the city of Lafayette parks. So, and hopefully this will be renewed for multiple occasions. And so basically we're taking advantage of that full-time payment and the Lafayette weather and trying to grow that project so that in essence, Princeton will be impressed and then therefore hopefully renew it. So we'll keep having a full-time intern to help us raise money because we need money for parks.
Thank you. Any other, you can comment on other stuff too, but that's wonderful. Thank you for the explanation. Any other public comment?
Yes, I have a speaker in our virtual audience, SW.
Okay. I think that's Stella.
Hi, good evening, Council. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This is Stella Weatherspoon. I don't know why my Zoom says that, but hi, nice to see you virtually. I'm just speaking in favor of this event. I think that'll be fabulous to have this kind of programming throughout the summer and will really bring vitality to our downtown, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
No additional speakers.
Great. So this is a really unique kind of opportunity, and thank you for thinking outside the box, but I know that's what you do, Grace, on a daily basis. And I think it's a wonderful idea, and you're right. Hopefully it'll morph and grow even just during the time this summer, right, into something that is amazing for Lafayette. Thank you. Anybody else?
I just want to say thanks to Eden.
Yeah.
Bringing this to Lafayette. It's a wonderful idea, and she's a wonderful person to make it come to fruition. And thank you, David, for being her mentor. That's
thank you.
Very engaged.
Good.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of, I think, echo Stella's comment a little bit. I think this whole area of Lafayette downtown is kind of underutilized, and I will say it is kind of on brand for Grace and everything to kind of see a need and try to fill it. And so I think, and plus activities, we're always complaining there's nothing going on in town. Well, I think having a Sunday, in the park in that great little location, next to the rain garden and everything is phenomenal. So let's keep going. It's great.
And I just want to comment that it looks like there's so much was thought through, and I appreciate that with the letter. And I know, I'm sure Jonathan, went through this too, but I do appreciate the thought process that went through, very thorough in terms of planning.
And if I could chime in, I just think this is terrific. I mean, vitality in our community is just so essential, and it's just I think, a great thing to have. And I will never say anything bad about Princeton again. And David, thank you for being a supervisor.
Anyways, thank you. Okay, so I think, do we have where is it? We need a motion to recommend the request, right?
I'll move to take the staff recommendation that the city approve this request for AARD.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good luck. Forge ahead. Great. And now we are, I believe, done. Thank you. Yes. Go Dubs.